Hi, folks. I hope you're getting a chance to enjoy the weekend. By now, you should have read Chinua Achebe's essay, An Image of Africa, Racism in Conrad's Heart of Darkness, and taken the Lord of War exercise. One thing I wanted to mention about the Achebe essay is that you don't necessarily have to agree with Achebe, particularly when you do the rhetorical analysis. If you disagree with certain aspects of his essay, like Conrad being racist, then feel free to disagree. There's no right answer in your analyses. But I think he does raise an interesting point, particularly after you see that scene from Lord of War. He had this eloquent statement towards the end of his essay where he says that this is no longer intentionally malicious on most people's part. It's just a kind of reflex reaction, which he says is actually worse because we just kind of blindly accept these depictions of Africa. And that scene from Lord of War is just one small example. It permeates the entire film. And don't get me wrong, I thought it was actually a pretty good film, but I did kind of flinch at those particular scenes that were set in Africa. But you'll see this in other films like Blood Diamond, Tears of the Sun, these kind of stereotypical depictions, which don't help promote, as you'll find out in Adichie's TED Talk. It doesn't help promote the correct picture of the African continent and its people. In fact, it just promotes that single story that she talks about. Anyway, so you should be heading into watching the TED Talk, the Danger of a Single Story, and you should read Piper's essay. And so what's next is the exercise, the Band-Aid exercise, and keep in mind that he briefly mentions it. He actually mentions the Ebola version. This one goes back to the 1980s, the video you're going to be watching, the music video. It goes back to the 80s and was an effort by Bob Geldof to raise money and awareness for the famine taking place in Ethiopia. But again, Piper says there are problems with those particular efforts. So you should, again, read Piper's essay, watch the TED Talk, and then do the Band-Aid exercise, and then finally the reading quiz number 1, which will force you to analyze at least one form of appeal in one of those sources, either Achebe's essay, Adichie's TED Talk, or Piper's essay. Anyway, good work so far, folks. I'm pretty pleased with your progress. And hopefully you can sustain that. I know it gets tougher as the semester progresses, but I wish you all the best. Thanks.